Have you ever wondered how FIFA makes billions of dollars from a tournament that only happens once every 4 years? Think about that for a second. One tournament once every 4 years and a single month of football. Then players go back home, stadiums go empty, the confetti gets cleaned up, life moves on, and fans go back to their routines. And yet somehow, FIFA walks away with billions of dollars every single time. So, the real question is where does all that money actually come from? And why does almost nobody talk about it? Most people assume it's ticket sales. That packed stadiums full of screaming fans must be the main engine driving all that money, right? And look, tickets do bring in money. Nobody's saying they don't. But compared to FIFA's biggest income source, ticket sales are honestly quite small. So let's actually break this down step by step because the reality of how FIFA makes its money is a lot more interesting than most people realize. And once you understand the system, you'll never watch a World Cup match the same way again. I promise you that. Let's start with the big picture first. The 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar was one of the most commercially successful tournaments in the entire history of the event. FIFA reportedly earned around $7.5 billion during the 4 year cycle leading up to and including that tournament. Let that number sink in for a second. $7.5 billion from one tournament cycle. That is bigger than the entire GDP of some small countries around the world. But here is what is really interesting. Most of that money, the bulk of it, did not come from fans sitting inside the stadium. Not even close. The real money comes from something much bigger, much more scalable, and much more powerful than a stadium full of people. So let's get into it. And let's talk about where the money actually comes from. The first and the biggest source, television broadcasting rights. This is the foundation of everything. This is the engine that makes the entire FIFA business model work, and it is enormous. Every 4 years, television networks from every corner of the world enter a massive bidding war. They are all fighting for the same thing, the right to broadcast the matches. And why would networks pay so much money just to show football games? Because the World Cup is not just a sport event. It is one of the most watched events on the entire planet. We're not talking about millions of viewers here. We are talking about billions across every continent, every country, and every time zone. The 2022 World Cup final between Argentina and France drew an estimated 1.5 billion viewers worldwide. Think about that number 1.5 billion people watching a single match. In many countries, World Cup matches are literally the most watched television events in the entire history of that country. Nothing else even comes closer. Now think about this from a pure business perspective. If you are a television network, you are not just buying the right to show football. You are buying attention, massive, undivided, emotional attention from billions of people around the world. And in the media world, attention is the most valuable thing that exists. Because wherever attention goes, advertising follows. Every commercial break becomes expensive. Every logo visible on screen becomes valuable real estate. Every highlight reel gets watched millions of times, and every goal gets replayed across every platform. All of it generates money for the broadcasters, and that money flows back to justify what they paid FIFA. This is why networks are willing to pay hundreds of millions, sometimes billions, just for broadcasting rights in their region alone. For example, in United States, Fox Sports and Telemundo paid a combined sum, reported to be in hundreds of millions of dollars, just to broadcast the 2022 and 2026 tournament. Now let's talk about the second major income source, global sponsorships. Think about the biggest brands in the world right now. Sports apparel, soft drinks, technology companies, financial institutions, car manufacturers, energy drinks. All of them want the same thing, visibility on the world's biggest stage. And the World Cup gives them exactly that and more. But here is the thing people often miss. It is not just about visibility. It goes deeper than that. It is about emotional association. During the World Cup, people are not just watching television. They are emotionally invested in a way that is almost impossible to replicate with any other event. They are screaming at the screen. They are crying when their team loses. They are hugging strangers in the street when the team wins. The emotions are raw and real.
And brands want to be present in those moments, not just to advertise, but to become part of the memory. Because when emotions are running high, marketing becomes exponentially more powerful. When you see a goal go in and you're celebrating, there is a certain logo on the screen. That logo gets embedded in the emotional memory. That is not an accident, that is a strategy. FIFA structures its sponsorships in tiers. At the top are the FIFA partners, the elite global sponsors like Adidas, Coca Cola, Hyundai, Visa, and Qatar Airways for the 2022 edition. These partners pay premium amounts, reportedly in the range of $50 to $150 million or more per cycle, for the highest level of visibility and association with the brand. Below them are FIFA World Cup sponsors and then regional supporters. Each tier pays different amounts, but all of them are paying significant sums for the piece of the World Cup stage.
And across a full 4 year cycle, the total revenue from sponsorships alone runs into billions. It is an extraordinary commercial machine. And now let's talk about the part fans see most directly: ticket sales and match day revenue. Stadiums filled with supporters, flags waving, national anthems echoing through packed stands. Scenes that gives you goosebumps just thinking about them. It genuinely feels like this should be the biggest money source. The passion is right there and the energy is electric. The demand is insane. But here is the reality. Ticket sales are only a fraction of FIFA's total revenue. A meaningful fraction, yes, but still much smaller than broadcasting and sponsorships. The reason is simple math. A stadium holds maybe 40,000 to 90,000 people. Even the biggest stadiums on the earth can only fit a certain number of fans. Meanwhile, television reaches billions. There is just no comparison in scale. A stadium is a room, television is the entire world. And that said, ticket revenue is still significant and is structured very cleverly. There are multiple categories: standard tickets, premium seats, VIP hospitality packages, and full corporate hospitality suites. A football match at the World Cup becomes an entire luxury experience. You are not just buying a seat, you're buying an event. Catering, entertainment, exclusive access, and all of it priced accordingly. Demand for tickets is so far beyond supply that FIFA can charge prices most people can barely afford. And people still pay them because this is the World Cup that only happens once every 4 years. When you multiply all of this across 64 matches in a single tournament, and the 2026 World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico will have 104 matches, the total becomes genuinely significant. But even then, compared to what broadcasting and sponsorships bring in, match day revenue is still the smaller piece of the puzzle. The fourth income stream is licensing and brand rights, and this one is massively underrated. Every single official World Cup product that exists is a part of carefully controlled licensing system, and FIFA earns money from every piece of it. Football merchandise, official jerseys, video games, trading cards, collectibles, souvenirs, posters, books, digital content, and even mobile apps, all of it. Whenever any company wants to use official World Cup branding, the logo, the trophy image, and the official team marks, they have to pay FIFA a licensing fee. No exceptions. The video game industry alone is a massive example of this. EA Sports pays licensing fees to include official teams, players' likenesses, stadium names, and World Cup branding in their football games. That is a significant revenue stream by itself. Merchandise companies pay to produce official products. Retailers pay for official collaborations. Even digital content creators and media companies have to navigate FIFA's licensing structure. What this means is that FIFA is not just making money during the tournament, it is making money from everything connected to the tournament, before, during, and after it ends. It owns the brand, and when you own a brand this powerful, the ownership generates revenue continuously. That is the power of intellectual property at this scale. Now, there is one more important part of the story that most people overlook completely: the host country investment cap. Hosting the World Cup is extraordinarily expensive. We're not talking about millions, we are talking about tens of billions of dollars in some cases. Qatar reportedly spent over $200 billion preparing for the 2022 World Cup. Stadiums, roads, metro systems, hotels, upgraded airports, new infrastructures built from essentially nothing, entire new cities, $200 billion, and FIFA collected roughly $7.5 billion in revenue. Meanwhile, it did not pay for a single stadium, not one road, not one hotel. So the obvious question is, why do countries still desperately compete to host it? Why are nations willing to spend that kind of money? The answer is that hosting is not a short term financial decision. It is a long term strategic one. When a country hosts the World Cup, billions of people around the world suddenly sees it. Tourism increases, sometimes massively. International media attention is relentless for an entire month. Foreign investors pay attention. Infrastructures that would have taken decades to build gets done in few years. And there is the prestige factor as well. Being a World Cup host puts your country on the global map in a way that almost nothing else can match. With that said, the long term benefits are not guaranteed for everyone. Some host nations see strong economic returns over the following decade. Others struggle to fill the stadiums they build and spend years dealing with the debt. This is why economists and analysts often describe hosting the World Cup as a mix of prestige, politics, and economic risk. The math does not always work out on paper, but countries keep lining up to try. So let's bring this all together. Let's simplify the whole picture. Television broadcasting rights bring in the largest share of FIFA's revenue because World Cup reaches billions of viewers and networks pays billions to access that audience. Global sponsorships add massive commercial value because brands pay premium prices to emotionally associate themselves with the most watched sporting event on earth. Ticket sales and match day revenue provide steady, significant income, even if they are smaller in the overall picture than the most fans expect. And licensing ensures that FIFA keeps earning money from the brand itself, long before and long after the last final whistle blows. Together, these four streams create a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem built around a single tournament, a tournament that lasts about 1 month every 4 years. And that is how the business model works. And honestly, when you understand it, it is kind of extraordinary. But here is the part that I think is the most interesting of all. And it is the thing worth sitting with. The genius of World Cup is not just how much money it makes. It is how the system is designed to work in the first place. The World Cup is not just a sport event. It is a global attention engine, a machine that collects human emotions and converts it into commercial value at a scale that almost nothing else in the world can match. It turns raw emotions, joy, heartbreak, national pride, hope into viewership. It turns viewership into advertising revenue. It turns advertising revenue into sponsorship deals. And it turns all of that into billions of dollars. And the truly remarkable thing is that FIFA doesn't even need to own stadiums or pay players or fund infrastructures. Other people do all of that, but FIFA owns the right. That is it. And the rights are worth everything. In today's world, where attention is the most valuable resource there is, FIFA has positioned itself to own the single biggest concentration of human attention that occurs on a regular, predictable schedule. Nothing else competes with the World Cup final for global simultaneous viewership. Not the Super Bowl or even the Olympics opening ceremony, not anything. And the monopoly on attention is the real reason the numbers are what they are. So the next time you sit down to watch a World Cup match, whether it is in your living room, a pub, a stadium, or on your phone, remember this. You are not just watching a football match. You are participating in one of the most sophisticated financial systems ever built around a sporting event. Your attention is the product, your emotion is the value, and the game, as beautiful as it genuinely is also the engine of a multi-billion-dollar global business. And honestly, knowing all of that somehow makes watching it even more fascinating.